This week, Grant strangles Vicksburg as he snakes his way towards D.C. First thing this week is at Vicksburg. On the 11th, Major General Ulysses S. Grant received 5,000 men under Major General Francis J. Herron, who moves into the 17th Corps under Major General James McPherson. That's small compared to the gift Grant receives on the 12th. 3 divisions from the 16th Corps under Brigadier General Cadwallader C. Washburn. Then on the 13th, we move to the east for the Second Battle of Winchester. After Brandy Station, Lee wants to get the move on and orders his 2nd Corps under Lieutenant General Richard S. Ewell to clear the valley. The same valley that Jackson cleared when Ewell was just a divisional commander. He has 19,000 men to do this sweeping operation. Opposing him are 7,000 men under Major General Robert H. Milroy, Major General Robert C. Schneck. And oh my lord, is this a Valley Campaign reunion? Oh, the Second Battle of Winchester! Let's see if I can get that script from last year. Headquarters, 8th Army Corps, Baltimore, January 5th, 1863. The following telegram was received today from Major General Halleck, General-in-Chief. Major General Schneck, no attempt should be made to hold Winchester against a large force of the enemy. General Halleck does not quite agree with General Schneck, near himself as to the policy of covering and protecting the road principally by keeping up advanced posts at Leesburg, Winchester, and Romney. W.M.D. Whipple, Assistant Adjutant General. Ewell on the 13th advances his forces towards Winchester, which Milroy has defended with 3 forts. After light skirmishing, Milroy strategically withdraws with his tail between his legs to those 3 forts, named West Fort, Star Fort, and Fort Milroy. Is this guy a supervillain? He is disobeying orders to fall back to Dover's Ferry and hands the initiative completely to the 2nd Corps of the Army of Northern Virginia. The Confederate commander goes around the valley, sweeping up Union remnants and garrisons before returning on the 14th to Winchester, where Milroy has promptly sat for him so graciously. He assaults West Fort and takes it, then circles Milroy, cutting off his communications, supplies, and possible escape. At 9 p.m., a council of war is held in Fort Milroy, and they're in agreement it's time to leave. Except their line of retreat is cut off, so only Milroy, staff officers, and a lucky few make it out. The Union lost the valley, 4,000 men captured, 95 killed, and 348 wounded. Not to mention their artillery, 28 heavy guns and 300 horses. Ewell lost 47 killed, 219 wounded, and 3 missing. Ewell had won the most lopsided victory of the war. He's ascendant, victorious, just like Stonewall. So Fort Milroy is renamed Fort Jackson. Is it me or can we not seem to keep up bringing his axe? The Union, upon hearing news of this defeat, panics. President Lincoln orders Secretary of War Stanton to bring him 100,000 volunteers now. Governor Andrew Curtin of Pennsylvania calls upon 50,000 militia. He has all the supplies he needs to take D.C. Where in the world is Hooker? Back to Vicksburg. We're just zigzagging here, aren't we? Grant receives the 9th Corps under Major General John G. Parke, bringing his force number up to 77,000 men. Is that all for the Vicksburg campaign? No. We have our trenches pulled up so close to the enemy that we can throw hand grenades over into their forts. Enemies do not dare share their heads above the parapet at any time. So close and so watchful are our sharpshooters. The town is completely invested. My position is so strong that I feel myself abundantly able to leave it so and go out 20 or 30 miles with force enough to whip 2 such garrisons. Wait, there is more further west of Vicksburg. Richmond. No, not that Richmond. Richmond, Louisiana. Major General William T. Sherman has dispatched the 2nd Brigade of his 3rd Division under Brigadier General Joseph Mower to work with Brigadier General Alfred W. Ellet's Mississippi Marine Brigade to take Richmond from Major General John G. Walker and his Greyhounds, a Texas division. Now, Mower's brigade is called the Eagle Brigade because of their mascot, Old Abe, an eagle named after the president. The resemblance is uncanny. The battle begins with Ellet's Marines engaging the Confederate skirmishers. Bullets whiz by as the 18th Texas forms a skirmishing line to hold the Union at bay as the rest of the Texans evacuate their supplies. Confederates throw themselves at the Marines, but are only able to stop the advance and not push them back. Mower takes this opportunity to form on the Texas flank and deploys his artillery, firing into the rebel batteries. Mower's men advance under the cover of cannon fire and hit Walker's line. The supply evacuation complete, the Confederate cross bridges and burn them behind them, having lost 5 killed and 25 captured. The Union's 1 killed and 11 wounded. Mower rebuilds the bridge and burns the town. Then it's back to the east, to Virginia, at Aldie. Colonel Thomas Munford, the Confederate cavalry commander, is there camping when Brigadier General Judson Kilpatrick arrives to ruin his day. 2,000 Union against 1,500 Confederates. The 1st Massachusetts moves into Aldie at the head and drives back the Confederate pickets. Rosa Munford's brigade is away under the command of Colonel Wickham. Oblivious to the carnage near him, sends the 5th Virginia under Colonel Rosser to find a camp spot closer to the town. The horsemen come across the first mass and charge in with sabers, forcing the Yankees back. Rosser's deploys Captain Boston, ironic given who they're fighting, with 50 sharpshooters to act as cover and falls back west to a more defensive location. The Union, seeing this withdrawal, believes the enemy are retreating, and the 1st Massachusetts again charges, this time with the 4th New York. They are still forced back at a heavy cost. Kilpatrick opens up with artillery as both sides receive reinforcements, though Munford gets the better of Kilpatrick, encircling and destroying those Massachusetts men. Of the 294 men who charged, they lost 198. The Union is able to use its force of numbers and win the day, but at such a cost, 205 to 119. Then there is Middleburg, where Colonel Alfred Buffet is sent with the 1st Rhode Island Cavalry. They must capture Stewart and his force, but Pleasanton won't reinforce them. Pleasanton then writes to Hooker, "From the information I can gather, there was no force of consequence of the enemy's infantry this side of the Blue Ridge." Hooker is furious. Cavalry is supposed to find where the enemy is, not where he isn't. Might as well report back Lee isn't in St. Louis. Wait, is he? God, I live there. No. And Pleasanton missed Longstreet's corps of 20,000 on the other side of Blue Ridge. Last thing this week, we zagged to Vicksburg. Grant has had enough of Major General John A. McClellan. Newspapers got a self-congratulatory order from last month and are printing it. Ulysses demands a copy of the order. McClellan complies, saying he stands by it. Enough is enough. Major General John A. McClellan is hereby relieved from the command of the 13th Army Corps. He will proceed to any point he may select in the state of Illinois and report by letter to headquarters of the Army for orders. The order is handed in an envelope to Lieutenant Colonel James H. Wilson, the Inspector General, and an enemy of McClellan, transferred to the unemployed general. McClellan's second in command, Major General Edward O.C. Ord, is to take over. Upon reading his dismissal, he gasps. "I am relieved." Upon seeing the smile on Wilson's face, he musters, "By God, sir, we are both relieved." A nice joke to end his career. Then there is Sickles. He needs to meet up with his corps. He has been reading the papers. Invasion of the North. Hooker on the ropes. Sail on courses at the general store. Maybe the last one isn't that important to you. He needs to meet up with them, but Hooker is moving slowly, and the Army of the Potomac is too far away. You promise Lee isn't here? I would be executed if he was, or, I don't know, asked to continue my job. That's where the week ends. Last week we saw a close engagement. That's where the week ends. Last week we saw a close engagement at Brandy Station, ultimately ending as the Union left the field. This week nothing is close, as the Union in the East suffers defeat after feared victory. Grant is consolidating in the West, and it's a blessing. It's interesting on the map, the Union has always had the advantage. He doesn't take much territory, but from DC to Richmond is 100 miles only. That's all that matters. And those 100 or so miles, well, it seems that the rebels own them. May God save the Union. Hello, it's the entire Civil War Week by Week team here. And first, just break character. Next week I'm going to be at VidCon in Anaheim, California. If you're there, hopefully for someone other than me, please stop by and talk to me. I'm lonely. And then back for the series. Gettysburg. Oh God. Why does it have to be so big? Do not take that context. I promise I'll get Gettysburg done, but it should be on time. But it might not be coming out on the anniversary. It might come out at the end of that week. And it'll probably be the only thing. You might see another Chancellorsville. Well, a longer Chancellorsville, obviously. It'll probably break the 1 hour mark. Hopefully only the 1 hour mark. If you want to support this masochistic invention, endeavor, or whatever, please join the Patreon And if you don't want to spend enough money to watch as I descend into madness, just like, comment, and subscribe. Still helps a lot. Oh god, why do I do this?